Go, you got a Chevy Malibu again. So my Malibu, my beater Malibu with 198,000 miles has a P00, I think it's a P0013 and a P0014 for the intake and exhaust VVT, the variable valve timing solenoid codes. So I've already pulled my cover off before what I'm about to do. I did this a couple weeks ago. I took the solenoids out. I ohmed them. There is a value. I think it was like, please don't quote me. Look it up, Google it. But I think it was like between a range of 5 to 15 on the multimeter. But again, I could be totally off. That's just going off memory a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure. I do know whatever range it was when I tested these solenoids. They were way off the charts. So I'm going to start replacing these before I do anything else. I'm not going to get crazy with this car. I'll just drive it without an inspection sticker before I put too much money into it. It could be the timing chain stretched out, but I'm going to try these solenoids. They do look original, so that's what I'm going to do. So what you got to do is pull this rubber boot off here. It can all be done with a flathead. You just unscrew it. That's the clamp there. You have to take your oil fill cap off. And in here, I'm going to grab my flashlight. You have to have a screwdriver of about that length. And you stick it through this side underneath. And then you can peek through here. See if we can see it, folks. So that right there, that it's not focusing on, if you look through that hole, there is another clamp. See that nut right there? There is, you can stick your flathead in there. You can also put a socket on it. It's probably an 8mm. I just use a flathead, but you can watch your screwdriver come through there and unscrew it from there. So you get it, fairly loose. You don't have to get crazy. Then after that, you kind of just pull up gently, front and back. Be careful when you pull it because the plastic can break. The only other thing that could be a good idea is to pull this hose off. You get a pair of pliers, squeeze this together, slide it down the hose. I figured out you don't have to really do that. You just have to be careful not to break anything. Just kind of roll it over to the side. Bingo. And these are your exhaust and intake BVT solenoids on this 10 Malibu. Now, like I said, I've been in here pushing these tabs. Pop these off. This one. There. And then down in there's a couple of 10mm. One and two. And these should pull out. If not, you might have to squeeze on them with something ever so delicately and pull them out. I think last time, here's the flashlight sitting in a puddle of water. I think last time I pried them out just a little bit with a screwdriver. So let me see what happens here. Oh, there we go. So obviously that's not ideal, but it just worked. I just tried it lightly. So what you do here, this is going to drip oil, so be careful. So once the 10 mils out, I just caught it underneath this lip. Obviously, if you're not going to reuse these, you're not too worried about it if it breaks. And they should come out pretty easy. If not, you can get a pair of pliers and just kind of twist it back and forth, loosen it up, and then try to pull with the pliers. But if you squeeze on here, you're probably going to break it. So just be careful. You know, if you break it, you're committed. Ooh. This one's got a lot of shit on it. See that? I don't think that was on there last time I took it out. Well, we'll set this over here. And then we'll get the other one out. So I would remember your orientation. So the intake and exhaust solenoids. So the intake side, which is here, was a gray connector. The exhaust side is a black connector. I may have just picked up those leaves and shit from pulling it off the cover. So there they are. That's what they look like. Dirty. I'm gonna grab my blowgun. Oh, there's one right here. I'll borrow this one. Set my phone down quick. I should have blown this valve cover out first, but I didn't. So I just blew out down in the holes. You want to be careful doing that because it's going to blow oil everywhere, but I wanted to get all the debris out of there. So let me see. Yeah, it looks like I got oil all over my phone, but so that's what the holes look like. I don't see anything in there that would be holding it up and get dirty. So I'm going to go ahead and stuff the new ones in. Let me put you down here real quick. So I bought Dorman brand, guys, and sometimes that stuff can be hit or miss. It's probably better to go with the OE, the original equipment, so call Chevy and get them GM. You know, if your Malibu is newer and you're planning on keeping it a while, that's a good idea. These were cheap, I bought them cheap, the car's cheap. I'm not worried about it. So I pulled these out and they don't identify like the old ones did. One's gray, one's black. And I'm like, oh shit, I can't look up the part number, see which one it is. But what I just realized is if you look inside of here, the connector is different shapes. You can't see it. I can't hold the flashlight plus these plus the phone, but they are different. Yep, there you go. You can catch it with a light. See how they're different on the inside? That's how you can differentiate. So then you can just look at your connector on your car. So the intake side's just going to have that one there, the two ears on the side, which is this one here. Catch a light just right. Bingo. Okay, I'm gonna pop this one in here. It's probably a good idea to throw some oil or grease on the seal, the O-ring, so it doesn't tear. I'm not gonna worry about it too much. For you guys, it might be a good idea. If I have to take this back apart, for me, it's not a big deal. And these seem to fit a lot tighter. And I'm not surprised that they're a little bit different, being aftermarket. And I just noticed those bolts are way smaller. The heads are not 10s, they look like maybe 8s or 7s. So I gotta come over here and I'll grab 7 and I'll grab an 8. I really don't think it looks like an 8, but Boy, I got a lot of oil on my phone. Probably should have held the phone away when I did that. Put my phone down here so I can change out my sockets. So these are going to be an 8mm. And before I pick my phone back up, give me just a second, guys. I just wanted to line my bolts up. So I just got my 8 and my extension and my 3/8 here. Those are zapped in. Pop these connectors back on. Obviously they're not going to go on if you got the orientation wrong. So those are in. The other thing to check here is to make sure this rubber boot didn't get pulled off when you pulled it off your throttle body. And it's not all cockeyed on one side. You got to fix it, that way it'll go back on nicer. So that's it. Those are in. There you go. Squirrels have been in here. Got some acorns in there. Getting warm. I know there's some up in this cover here. I ain't worried about it. So we'll roll this back over. And you can usually feel where it's got to be just by rocking it around a little bit. Make sure your boot's out of the way. That'll fight you a little bit. You can use your oil cap fill tube as a guide. Push it down. There's that one. I'm just going to take a peek and see, make sure. Try to stick my head down in here. Looks like it pushed down the throttle body okay. Doesn't look wrinkled. Perfect. Put this back on so dirt doesn't get in there. Slide my rubber boot on. And if you took your rubber hose off here, you got to put that back on. Just try to rock it on a little bit. And my flathead. And I may or may not be able to get this one with you guys here. I'm gonna have to shine my light in there. Bingo, that's tight. Hey guys, that's back together. It wasn't so hard. This video's been going for almost 14 minutes, so it takes about that long. Cover feels like it's on. Clamp's tight. While I'm here, I'm going to check the oil. Your oil level will dramatically affect your VVTs. And I've checked this before. I haven't seen this car use any oil, even with 198,000 miles on it. Yeah, it's still good, all the way to the top. This was maintained by a fleet company, and they change the oil religiously every 5,000 miles, so that aspect of it is good. There it is. The VVT replacement is done. Thanks once again, guys, for checking it out. This is a 2.4 liter 2010 Chevy Malibu. Bingo. Thanks, guys.